Socy Dark Talks is back. Open the door and I will tell you 3 scariest Petroleum family stories. Story 1. The Secret of the Jamefeller Empire and the 32 Ghosts at St. George Church. This is a story that reveals the origins of the wealth of the Jamefeller family, one of the most notorious oil empires of the 16th century, recorded in the diary of my great-grandmother. According to her, the influence of the Jamefeller family was so great that a common saying emerged. If you have a wish, pray to God, but if you want it to come true, bow down to the Jamefeller family. Few know that my great-grandmother and the son of the head of the Jamefeller family at that time, Louis D. Jamefeller, were childhood friends in Lukova, a village in the Czech Republic. Going back to the time when they were still in school, my great-grandmother recounted that Louis's family came from a farming background and was somewhat impoverished. Sometimes my family had to help them hide from debt collectors. Eventually, the Jamefeller family had to move to a small church on a hill as all their property had been sold. It was rumored that this church was one of the most sacred places, protected by the soul of a former archbishop. This soul would make all the wishes of pure hearts come true, and conversely, evil intentions would result in dire consequences, including loss of life. Before this, a total of 25 people, young and old, including monks, had suddenly died after praying at the church. The villagers believed they had made cruel wishes and were being punished by a demonic spirit. The first mysterious incident began on an April evening when a nun suddenly went mad and brutally murdered 5 sleeping children in the attic. In the following days, the peaceful atmosphere of the village was once again shattered, this time by the gruesome sight of Mother Superior Diana, stabbed to death with a crucifix in her neck next to the statue of Christ in the church. 2 consecutive tragedies struck, instilling fear in the villagers. There were many speculations about the transformation of the archbishop's soul from a benevolent figure to a vengeful demon, believed to be cursing those who prayed at the church where the Jamefeller family resided. In the days that followed, the church was completely deserted, the doors sealed shut, and no one dared to enter the once warmly welcoming space. The once cozy church gradually fell into abandonment. However, no one noticed that the first person to discover these incidents, coincidentally, was Louis's father. Continuing my great-grandmother's doubts, the Jamefeller family remained in the church and quietly turned this place into their residence. On the last page of the diary, my grandmother reminisced about the time when her close friend, Louis, recounted his family's belief in a prophecy. According to the prophecy, their destiny would become prosperous if they could control a sacred land and 32 purest souls. Based on my deductions, both my grandmother and I believed that the extraordinary wealth of the Jamefeller family in the future was not simply a matter of luck. In the haunting context of this lineage, Louis's sudden death created extreme horror for both my grandmother and me. The seemingly harmless notes suddenly became haunting, making us keenly aware of the subtle deception veiled by the Jamefeller family. Louis, the 32nd soul, as my grandmother recounted, became the key figure shedding light on the series of mysterious assassinations that plagued the church. In the end, I realized the price the Jamefeller family had to pay for their wealth and fame was to sacrifice their most innocent and pure-hearted son. Although it is unknown whether his death that year was accidental or intentional. A final secret: the church from which this oil dynasty originated turned out to be the site of the infamous St. George's Haunted Church, known worldwide to this day. Story 2. Alaric, Gatekeeper of Hell. In the 16th century, as the world was engrossed in exploring and conquering new lands, an oil dynasty hidden in the mists of history ignited a terrifying legend. This family, known as the Alarics, hailed from a nameless region where natural oil wells dotted the desolate and mysterious landscape. Legend tells that the Alaric family discovered a peculiar oil well, where the oil was not only a valuable resource, but also a gateway to another world, a realm of power and darkness. To harness this power, They conducted ancient, obscure rituals, using the blood of unfortunate souls as offerings to nourish their oil well. Those who dared approach the Alaric land never returned. They vanished without a trace, and stories of their disappearances became a warning to anyone bold enough to uncover the family's secrets. Year after year, the Alaric dynasty grew richer and more powerful, but with it came isolation and fear spread across the region. On a stormy night, an explorer named Elias, determined to uncover the truth about the Alaric family, sneaked into their domain. Elias found traces of dark rituals, oil jars filled with a pitch-black liquid that shimmered with an eerie light. He discovered that the oil wells were not just a source of wealth, but also a means for the Alaric family to communicate and bargain with beings from another world in exchange for power and immortality. But what Elias failed to realize was that every drop of oil extracted, every bargain made with the other world, marked a deeper step into an irreversible darkness. And when the Alaric family finally achieved their goal, the gateway between the two worlds could no longer be closed, ushering in a new era of horror where human life was no longer valued. Now, knowing too much, Elias was pursued by the Alaric family into the night. Running through the deadly oil fields, with black oil splashing everywhere, reflecting the dim light of sudden lightning strikes, each of his steps seemed to take him deeper into a nightmare with no escape. Elias understood that the Alaric family was not merely oil tycoons. They were the keepers of the gateway between two worlds, and now that gateway could no longer be sealed. In his most desperate moment, Elias found an ancient tree with a hidden hollow shielded by thick foliage. He hid there, resting and trying to devise a plan. In the darkness, Elias realized he was not alone. A whispering voice told him the true history of the Alaric family and warned him of the danger of disrupting the balance between the two worlds. The voice revealed an ancient secret. Only a voluntary sacrifice could close the gateway that had been opened. Understanding he might never return, but still wishing to prevent the destruction the Alaric family had caused, Elias decided to perform the oldest ritual. Using what remained of himself, combined with the vow of a mortal willing to embrace the darkness, he restored the border between the two worlds. As dawn broke, all traces of the Alaric family and their oil wells vanished without a trace, as if they had never existed. Elias and his sacrifice became part of local legend, a story passed down through generations about the hero who saved the world from destruction. But the story does not end there. Legend also says that beneath the oil fields where the Alaric family once thrived, a new power waits for its time to awaken, ready for a new battle. And there, among the streams of pitch-black oil, the light of a brave soul still flickers, like a beacon guiding those brave enough to face the deepest darkness of the world. Story 3. Legend of the Ivanov family. In the remote lands of Russia, where eternal ice blankets the earth and nights stretch endlessly, there existed an oil dynasty known for its unbelievable wealth and power. This family, known as the Ivanovs, controlled the largest oil wells, where each drop of oil extracted further augmented their boundless riches. Yet, behind their success and power lay a horrifying secret, a dark legend that few dared to whisper. It is said that the Ivanov family made a pact with a supernatural force to attain their wealth and power. On a moonless night, their ancestor, a man named Grigory Ivanov, ventured deep into the dark forest to meet a creature believed to have control over the hidden oil veins beneath the earth. This ancient and powerful entity demanded a significant sacrifice in exchange for endless riches. Grigory agreed to the creature's terms, a sinister pact that required each generation of the Ivanov family to sacrifice an innocent child on the first winter night of each decade. In return, every drop of oil extracted from the earth would bring unlimited wealth and power to the family. But wealth and power never come without a cost. The Ivanov family was haunted by a curse. On moonless nights, the silhouettes of the sacrificed children were seen wandering around the oil wells, and their cries echoed in the icy wind. the local people began to avoid the Ivanov's oil fields, believing them to be protected by these restless spirits. Then, during a harsh winter, tragedy struck when a family member refused to perform the sacrifice. The ancient creature awoke in anger, and a wrath descended upon the Ivanov family. Oil well after oil well dried up, the family's fortune mysteriously dwindled, and horrific accidents befell its members. Since then, it is said that whenever the north wind blows across the icy fields, the cries of the Ivanov family's ghostly children can be heard, a reminder of the price of dealing with darkness. Facing inevitable decline, the remaining members of the Ivanov family began to seek a way to break the curse. They traveled everywhere, from snow-hidden villages to ancient libraries containing lost human knowledge, hoping to find an answer. Eventually, a hint from an old book led them to a hermit, believed to be able to communicate with the spiritual world. The hermit told them of an ancient ritual capable of breaking any pact with dark forces, but required a great sacrifice. A family member had to plunge into darkness, not through death, but by completely forsaking the light of this world, living yet dead, so their soul could permanently bridge the two worlds, forever barring the dark force. Mikhail Ivanov, the youngest and bravest of the family, volunteered for this mission. On a cold winter night, with the rest of the family as witnesses, Mikhail performed the ancient ritual under the dark moon. When the ritual concluded, Mikhail disappeared, leaving behind only dense darkness and a strangely spreading sense of peace. From then on, the Ivanov's oil wells ceased to be exploited. They renounced the wealth and power that darkness had brought them, returning to a simple life close to Mother Earth. The cries of the ghostly children were heard no more, replaced by peace and tranquility returning to the land. The legend of the Ivanov family and their eerie pact became a tale told over and over, a warning about the value of deals with darkness and the power of sacrifice for the greater good. Mikhail Ivanov, who sacrificed himself to save his family and land from the curse, is remembered as a symbol of courage and bravery, a true hero in the eerie legends of Russia. This is Socy Dark Talks. Make sure you've liked and subscribed to our channel so you won't miss out on the chilling tales and exhilarating adventures waiting for you in our upcoming videos. Farewell, and see you again.